what to me at say uno buy ho efa so number be fresh so 0554 0544 325030 0544 325030 and at 0270 575030 0270 575030 na fione Adama West Africa for any enkomo. Now so yembra back and yemedi nkomo enra demonstration be ekoso on the suspension of the Chief Justice yemedi nkomo na fi yasaso ababehwe other related issues, declaration of assets by the President of the Republic of Ghana enra was set example ama the code of conduct edi atuja akase by 31st of this month, who are when you declare assets to be automatically you've been sacked. What's a home? The maybe near the home come. But first of all, you can share no demonstration there course. So Afenyo Markin police in back was no. You need one more come. Ivan, akwa baby.
Yeah, major sir.
Lucius akwa baby. One at me, Mr. Binko, many can start in free honor.
You may fa kwanya suna me nchia His Excellency Don Dramani Mama na menchia wahwefo nso nyina na NPP for demonstration ya beko yi de me feel say enkaba nkokra nkeye
omo ankwa na nkeye
be boa be pa
ade
yenti America ne say yes party a yetu abawi no egu what I say nti obi a ufie she anase say na waja ho say me kɔ akon de nyansa bi ani sa okɔ akon no na se udi nkunim na oba fie a oba be de
oba oni baby abetna because of fear
nti enye nyansa de in the first place nipa bia na advice NPP for no se benye demonstration bia sa nipa no betam for kese pa
nipa bi otu NPP for so mo demonstration
for se benye sa demonstration we no
oye NPP for tam for
oye NPP for tam for kese pa.
I see,
because anybody can catch on say ufie say anaja da ufie na waja ho se me kwa akon o de granted sa akon na akɔ no wakudi nkunim ubeba bedru na ofie so asɛn ene ya me no wo kasa yi no NPP any leader
omo leader is chairman of the party is a leader, the national chairman
na ne be ye uhu say be guided by any leadership beni leader ene ya me no kasa beni leader obia ye ne ope enti se betena ase na nka behwe kwan pa be fa so a bebetumi aka party yabo na batumi de akọ 2028 elections no baja wa say beko demonstration ene sankrofu kro ya beko demonstration beden rachi ya besore say beko thank you to thank you to no be start ye hu be yan hu ba bia be diko wie ene ubi sabe say thank you to no asisen a benim. What I say? Anti-demonstration abeko in the first place, you know, wrong. You know, can say beko.
I see.
Ne uye no so craft you ha. Sa Chief Justice insense you know. Ban kasa benim. Benim say anamontu abetui. Enkosi babia.
Anamontu enkosi hwe.
Enkosi hwe including Chief Justice na kasa no herself no enim. Say near NPP for air any ni obi bia air bia no sa nipa kron to twede ehwe wiem as a wiem say na atotwede nipa no to twede ehwe wiem enka obia enkosi hwe Chief Justice President Mama a suspended no wa onti ase epo no eni akiri ewo haya manches bo enye de tofuo anase petru ko twaja tupuru.
Oh how But that is a democratic institution.
Yes, the sad democracy now all can one sem na no any my president kwan say obi petition say chief justice ye niema bi a enu kwan say oye enti yinu free ho no ma constitution no che say one o council of state emfa ho adwen na ho set up a 5-member committee na say 5-member committee no ehun say say uyina dia and I say uyinu free ho a ne wa yina free ho president mama dan me catch say president mama enkan no ba bia da say opeso yi chief justice eye nipakuo bi mu ne ayeden aka say chief justice ni nyuma a oye nukuru mu asi no emwa enti onye den onyini free ho no president mama mfiti prekopen kan chief justice say kofie the constitution no ehye no say onye den on consult with the council of state no oye ben set up a 5-member committee no why into a constitutional mandate no or perform into say o sorry ka say o ko offense demonstration and say ya wunya so ne ya de o ye say den yanya ne den what you say o ye no so kura free ho no ma ye nyina ye ti krom ha si ye nim ye mami why bribia atwam constitution ye clear kwan a ye be fa side den anya chief justice Ghana ha si say kobano other supreme court justices constitution so san ye clear ho na wo constitution through the constitution wo be chief justice wo sorry ya wakoto pen any paper akotena dan cheni ba bi atro nipa bi mu din say wo the akoma president say on appoint san crofo no like how sani aye no wan kasa no wasua emra enim sane emra nsitie adenti ese wo tirase HSA president appoint san crofo no wa brekwa unim say constitution no ka say president be appoint other supreme court justices say or consulted with judicial council no advice no consulted with the council of state na parliament here they approve it. This is the process.
Yeah.
And then here ekoba say wo no after say you appoint you awie no wotimi ye too autonomous ebenya that powers ne say ubetimi atro nipa bi mudi e de akwa president say on appoint be say then ni ma sa autonomy no aden constitution ya tro no foforo enti sa ayi offense farasifo ya na no be call nura be call demonstration no beni bele basia amra be ni mra eban sani
therefore
ayi MPP for asem me kan eban sani MPP for ahole ho afia mra enimra na otimi tena ase ehwe say obi mom akotena dancheni ba bi atro ayi offense edin dia koma president say appoint sankrofo for no emfa be mra ayi supreme court. Now to ha that time Godfrey Odame etro the support is and ye mame e ka no sa recommendation na mame no eye no e good and the one so say who demonstration emfa so be ni wo so
samo
emfa so be ni wo so yi offense baba petition president say onyi mame no mfi on no ebi mu aka about foreign travels mame no aya watuatua pedie mu ne nasefo de amono anemma ene na busuafo eye violation of the constitution ni nyina no che ho no ehwe say nipa no aye sad no see I don't blame them that much sa krono na babubo no krom ha ya ene Ghana for ayiba free ho no the only hope en ye mami
oh really
the hope yeah but that so kese no ene eye mami enti badwen kire be say mami free ho no pe abo akoko mfrema abobeto what you say akoko asense wahu enti mami free ho pe beto bedadi
I see
enti woni ne ye obi a be feel say obetimi aden obetimi akata beto eni nti abeye ne beye no enye sa demonstration abekọ no emfa so bia ni so nyansa bia ni
all right mesa ba ho no mu bia na ba me call Ivan Lucius say akoko sense frama bobeto tibeto adedi I don't know enra demonstration no and the happenings within the demonstration and the outcome of the demonstration is it worth it?
Yeah, Jabi, they can mention na mention what here for mention Lucius. Na menka say so here constitution ye di juma e okrom ha are famously known as the 1992 constitution demonstrations, protestations, remonstrations, and those are legitimate political tools. And I said democratic tools. We are dissatisfied with anything going on within the democratic sector. Me, I employ to register your displeasure. And the demonstration I've always maintained, say, even if the cause is foolish, because it's democratically, you find saying endorsed tools people can employ within a democracy, allow people to demonstrate freely, because that is their constitutional right. A source from the constitution, and that particular right must never be suppressed. So I was very happy when the IGP cleared them, and the who's Attorney General, so the state Babontin said they are free to go. And you come back to what we've been experiencing in the last 8 years. The president of the day, now President Akufo-Addo, or by year popular in this country, the gentleman who rose to political prominence through demonstration, demonstration, and but surprisingly under him as the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, we saw how people were assaulted. Journalists, individuals. Oliver, you say wakutu police for khaki. Young people of this country were so peeved about the turn of event in terms of galamsey activity. Taking the bull by the horn, decided, oh, this is our country, this is our future. Demonstration. These young people were arrested. They were detained and denied bail. It took another demonstration, a whole lot of public advocacy, and some issue, Ni was part of the people.
That's true.
Oliver and other people were assaulted because they demonstrated. And then Afenyo Markin and Co. had a free ride. And they did a demonstration across the length and breadth of this country, walk all the way to the presidency. And the chief of staff, deputy chief of staff, approached them and even spoke to them. And you be a you click your mind back during the last 8 years.
I see.
Because we lived in a country demonstration by a no-go area. But then the same bunch of individuals who said there is the need to us to do demonstration. Fine, I respect that, and that is it. And again, Afenyo Markin had a brush or an encounter with a police officer. The gentleman in question is not just an ordinary person. He's the minority leader of parliament. According to him, he's a lawyer. And then,
according to him,
he's a lawyer and several other he's a member of parliament and as for. He understands as a police initial police uniform that symbolizes the authority of the state.
With the berets.
You don't assault a police officer in a uniform. But in that video, we saw him in the past, not police if one demonstrators and as for by a neck or no as a leader. Only member is assaulting a police officer in the presence of everybody. And then the gentleman quickly ran to TV station and said, the police officer rather assaulted him.
That is so shameful.
And then the video came out vindicating the fact, say he rather assaulted the police officer.
Very shameful.
I'm expecting, say it's good that the police has issued a statement that they want it. But you see, some of these issues, yen to me end up brushing outside, because as a lawmaker, you are the law, you know the law, you legislate law. You cannot be engaging in this lawless act to the extent of say, attack a police officer in a uniform. This is something I expect condemnation from across board. What is a Ghana Bar Association issue statement? These are a bunch of lawless individuals. They are there political interest and more fine. Because JB, when this whole Chief Justice issue came up, and GBA way I shall say so issue statement. I was so very surprised because over the years, because in the last 8 years, the atrocities are unleashing on the individuals. Kwanya ya use the court to frustrate people. Kwanya President Akufo-Addo fast or pack court. Ekofa known party people are inserting onto the judiciary. The GBA at the time couldn't find their senses to realize that Neamana Papa no dent the credibility of your judiciary. Appointments nana air course, and there was the need. Abra Chief Justice for Krata, Cho Ding, Church and Namfo Ding, and the former president Akufo-Addo said, "Oh, appoint you to the Supreme Court." No, GBA could not condemn those statements, and there are several other things. Of course, so, and suddenly, if somebody has submitted a petition to the president, and I say, "Oh, go through the same liar," suddenly this bunch of cowards are once again barking like dog in the public space. They want people to, your friends, respect them. What would the kind of backlash or within your friends saying the media space?
Yeah.
That is what I'm telling you. Say next generation you can't threaten people with me a lawyer and no, those things don't move nothing. When you speak, the intellect you display. O kasa kwanya be fa so abekasa ne nsem a abeka na manipa wu abrante o a lawyer na nyesa lawyer sa akeke because a lawyer ne enim lawyer wo gebi wa ponche yira sesia na wo de court o enim lawyer be frɛ no ana ye fro Supreme Court enim lawyer be fa na di wachi so lawyers no mu nyina anya pɛ. That is what you should know, you understand. But you see the kind of standard I be set as a person, I think that is what you need to do as your friend saying as a person. But in this particular situation, the whole thing turned into some kind of a political way. I say, and for me, that is very shameful. And it's a GBA, our legitimate grounds. Nanko, Mwabano, say, hey, the ECOSI, because of ABCD, President Mahama, Afumwe, and I say, Wafumwe, then we have a cause to worry. But this is a legal institution, an association of lawyers. Speaking to constitutional issues, they are speaking like Sebi Obi Oye Fundaka na Oka law because Obi Oye Fundaka na Onka law. But these are lawyers speaking like that. You understand? Because if you are speaking about issues of law, you should be able to premise your argument on law.
Now, before I just want to clarify and emphasize the Afenyo Markin issue.
Okay.
At the time, Afenyo Markin demonstrated as a member of parliament.
Okay.
He demonstrated as an individual.
Okay.
So he doesn't enjoy any immunity.
Okay.
The police have every right to arrest him rather than inviting him.
No. With the mistake of Moya and say at the spot,
yes,
they should have arrested him on the spot. But we are not there so you cannot arrest him. That is the thing. So that is how ineffective our police is also here to a certain extent. You see, we very often cow them under political intimidation as well. Because an ordinary person assault to a police officer and immediately now so why can't we do the same thing? Because we need to strengthen and empower state institutions just to ensure that it doesn't matter who you are, because MP or you need to arrest that person and prove to him that he's not above the law. You understand? You don't allow him to go home and chest out, do radio, TV interview. The following day, when you're backlash, I feel the police for that trust statement and I invite him. Who cares about that? I know the day, no. Or China, Obisi Abontino attack a police officer because an MP who is supposed to be a lawyer has led the way. And Parliament, so I think that they need to institute certain disciplinary measures within the House. Because you see, your friend saying, as a group beer, a breedy, a trainee criminals, a safe haven, breedy this kind of people. Because you see, over the years, Parliament say, oh, we are honorable people, but in recent times, the conduct and the behavior of some people within the House, are not only unparliamentary, but this very honorable. That is what I'm saying, is that most of them don't even deserve the prefix honorable. It's very shameful because say obiti parliament now engaging in some of these things, and you expect the general public to accord you the dignity and the respect you deserve. You are a joker, because when I see you, I will see you for who you are, not because you are MP. We MP until the end. Abraba with the MP but if you get out there and engage yourself in this kind of lawless actor, I know the day, like any ordinary petty criminal out there, we will see you as a petty criminal, not honorable. So Parliament need to take certain decisive measures to ensure that some of these things and they need to make sure that they clamp down on some of these things. Oliver, you say Oliver, social media, your friend is saying Parliament, you have a privileges committee.
Yeah, sure.
Why a deserve privileges committee more than this gentleman?
Saturday appointment committee and
exactly by the same Parliament. And I'm saying, sir, Parliament are losing the moral authority and the moral clout to call anybody say you're disrespected because the house more or less is becoming like an avenue of contempt. Individuals no mugumna brabo mobono impugn the integrity of people out there. So you should not expect say people respect you for nema any way. And for me that is the problem. So the speaker our responsibility on country parliamentarians say teteno na ye de sa nema no hunahuna amamfo na me ye MP makacha said ne Pontius Pilate no mo said that ye no samba biema obi be so no kon ka kire na bro wodi nkwasasem what asem na make no tell people respect ne ye demand from people. You cannot threaten people and say me ye MP nti respect me. And that is why most of these lawyers are also losing their very essence, because in the past you can be a lawyer, people are called them that sense of dignity, but in recent times some come on TV and they speak and the poverty of intellect they live in their wake. You've seen a couple of lawyers who sit on TV na omudia matem na no me hu say obide ya titi akotena TV so lawyer and na all turn ho asoba. And these are people the GBA will not even find any reason to sanction these people. Say you belong to a very dignified association. As a member, you cannot misconduct yourself in this manner, and for that particular reason, we are sanctioning you or doing this. You allow all these things to go on. After Asambana go to the other side of the political party, and then all of a sudden the GBA comes in and issue a statement. And the statement is a funny one. It's not premised on anything sensible, because Sanka omutimi chire and say, oh, GBA. Yakomra no ma eda hono ya hu say the president Mahama ye ABC the wafom mra, and for that matter and the president should ye fen say on turn things around that. Then me ameti hay meba betena ha be defend say yes asema GBA can no credit because president Mahama fom mra, but these are lawyers who are supposed to be in the know so far as the law is concerned.
Know better.
Yes, but they are advertising sheer and raw emotions instead of arguing law. In some of these are emotional sentiments being expressed. Because none of them has been able to come on TV to tell us exactly what the president what be that? No one is an emotional campaign, emotional sentiment in as for no mutugum saka Kenyan sabi an association of 5,000 members. Now we know about 52 question them baby no muko pass resolution. One kasa organization we a serious organization. But there is no serious organization have friend members up to 5,000. 52 never show up. A just organization and kasa no people no no what lose your clout. What lose your essence, because it is not an association of lawyers, a political movement that some people use for a certain parochial interest. And for me, that is what they are.
That shouldn't be so. They contribute to the society.
No, they are supposed to contribute to society. Listen, you know, if you go to other jurisdictions, do you know what people study law to advance the cause of society?
Yes.
In recent time, many of the politicians who are lawyers in our political space, you know what they do? Sometimes you listen to argument on TV and you yourself become more confused than the very people speaking. You understand? But you see, because they are not arguing wisdom, they are not arguing fact, they are not arguing law or evidence, they are arguing emotions based on where you stand across the political divide. And the NDC near MPP near and the direction of the law. We are not arguing in near mass and Nipabete. And for me, some of these things Emma Manfo lose respect in this country. So the GBA must realize that there is a sharp decline in terms of respect people have for them. And they need to do everything to bring their members apart. We need to become relevant in the eyes of the people. And can some nobody will question them if they've been able to premise their argument on something substantial, argument grounded in law. But Oba, and you're speaking raw out of emotions. There is nothing substantial, nothing sensible to be attributed to Nsabna Wokana. What do you expect me to do? And for me, that is the worry. So back to the MPP and the Chief Justice. You see, my culture says MPP is a sinking enterprise. It's a party that is diving into the sea. They have no relevance. They've lost their mojo, everything. So now, no. That's exactly what they are doing. They are on a foolish course. And anything but this
is a democratic right.
That is why me start the argument. But you see, the question is you are not demonstrating in the eyes of your friends saying some bunch of ignorant people, and let people are very much enlightened. Oh, yeah, demonstration. They want to know identity will demonstrate. And these are your facts. The fact is somebody has submitted a petition to the president. The president has followed through, submitted same to Council of State. Council of State has reviewed the petition, and the conclusion is next step of the process has to be activated. And that is exactly what the president has done. Somebody wake up and says the president did not breach constitutional procedures. The question is which procedure was breached? Consider me. Then we rectify it. You are unable to single out a single breacher. Do you think people will take you serious?
I see.
Nobody will take you serious. So you see, politics, you've gotten to a point. I think emotions are taking the larger part of the political discourse. You're politicking in this country, the major part of it has to do with emotions. And emotions, so in this space, our the intellectual table, whenever you go to the intellectual table with emotions, you only expose yourself and tell people how gullible and weak-minded you are. Because at that table, there is no room for your friends emotions. Yeah. The question is fact now what they but to substantiate your argument and they have and Mraba president a good for demonstration now what are the basis? And they always say John Mahama say oba your friends say obey changes our the judiciary and now why all you chief that's in the first place nipo mo lose my appointment under John Mahama no mododo Oko konfanotia na no
professor
Okofie Oko tamala Okofie the Ghana your friends say statistician na nkasa o had Okofie. So why are they not demonstrating? Are they no Ghanaians? Why do they have particular interest in the Chief Justice? So it will go to affirm the fact that under Akufo-Addo there was a deliberate attempt to pack the court. In case they exit power, they will be protected, and that's exactly why the MPP has taken this first entrenched position fixate on the Chief Justice alone, because there have been a number of people victims under John Mahama. Right. Why are you not speaking for these people? Why the focus is always on the Chief Justice? It affirms the fact that indeed you have a particular interest. And Debbie, the call to reset the judiciary, that call John Mahama They say resonating with the larger section of Ghanaians, peeved about the sinking image of our judiciary. For me, that is the foundational institution of our democracy. We can lose the judiciary, we can lose the executive and parliament. Yeah. But one entity is very sacred. We cannot afford to do politics with it. It's the judiciary. Right. And that is why Ghana for our call and say we need to sanitize this house just to make sure that it works for the people. Very well.
Mesamba ohodo mu bim na ya to akomo so Lucius so be add some few input, but answer na no for Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital Emfa Emao. Dr. Sheikh Amibosu or say Nyakupo kwa any yare safo. Inti yare bi ye obia no. Bomodi aso beko Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital. Or your experts stroke fertility and chronic diseases. Yare bi ye crown crobia ha obia no. O de kwada so ya obetumi aboa na ene je se me se okofa machine won so bia ba enu na di tete o yare no na waped ho aduro eso edi ama to be so bomodi aso be Russia ko ne the branch e won cry e wo domain I be slit flat down to the railway so no mo saso na lashebi or saso e wo hono a shaman under bridge ho and also branches ahodo bebre Kumasi Takrade Nkoko Temale Bolga ho bebieni enchi nkwanta and asefo bebre na ntibesro ko Dr. Sheikh Amibosu hono no nya daje emfa bibidro emfa enka alternative medical hospital na ontumi ehwe oyepa. The number is 0245 27 5254 0245 27 5254 at 0207 229505 0207 229505. Now the Sheikh Dr. Amibosu any enkomo. Now so yembra back into our discussion. There are two important issues per se discussing. The monetization the confirmation of the MMDCs is becoming very worrying. NDC and about power. John Dramani Mahama, president, who appointed to be so concerned the district of Wom. Now, NDC ni kwa endorse na just or be 5,000, or be 6,000, be no more 3,000, be no more 1, all in the name of assembly members near there. Yes, before they were paying just because almost say the interior moka, almost no. Now there is a government who is going to pay all the assembly members. Yet the monetization is becoming even worse off. How do we curb that very particular issue? And number 2, you share the Declaration of Assets, ENRA, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the Code of Conduct book, all his appointees, ensuring that they will all declare their assets. What I want to be any day, you consider yourself to be sacked automatically. How do we ensure an effectiveness of that particular course? Lucius, but Mr. Ntim Fordjour, maybe a person different.
Okay, you that's it. I'm free. Endorsement, no?
Yeah.
MMDC endorsement, no? So, we say, sir, MMDC endorsement, no? And can you consent Cascasen be album? The entire American say, yes, oh, yeah, assembly member, or pay development, or electoral area. Now, say, MC in ho, and I say DC in ho, and MP, no? Meetings call a bedding, even though a presiding member any a day every meeting. Now, mum say, or free meeting as a DC in ho, and as a MC in ho. The Hobart discuss Biano, a bear qua. Ye what district be brave or honoma Ben Puntu Akachi because of MMDC Huns and Sam.
Yeah.
A beer honoma, Babako for endorsement, no. Baba kwa koto na bantu amano enti na ese besane yeden reschedule ayi no date no now ohwe ade ba ko a ha adwen a yes kasem
yeah
eni nti a ebimo nso wo adwen se sane be ya SAS kasem be free honum no when say obekaya even both NPP and NDC na no sa ayiwe no ya ka ho asem pense say DC no say ye open up
sure
nanka
yento so
yento beso abati say ye to MPC so aba no
yeah
nka enu mom no ebeyi sa monetization no afri honum because the whole district and as a municipal no ekoto so aba ebe de mpasse obetimi raise sika na wakotua dia ma obi a say onto aba ma in actual fact sometimes Encrofo abi o ha be kope MC and as a DC no sorry to say ebi mu ho ma be finances no eni soro sai wo fam o ti ase enti say obi ye memfa nse bi a teacher ni or a nurse and as e bi a o ye ni business kakra akra bi nanne oba be pe DC no aka say o metua sika ansa na watu aba mana ebe edin so obetimi anya sales kan but I think say adeba ko a ama political parties no entimu committee to sa you know idea no say sia say obe open up na o ka say obi abetimi a contest ya say koba ne say NPP NDC ni wa ban sisi na say NPP ni ekofa form na o contest na say owenia eno so mpuntu duma
yeah.
Obet sabotage government district hall.
And we can have cases like in the Volta region and Ashanti region.
Yes.
Because Oko Volta region are heavily dominated by the NDC. Oko Ashanti region are heavily dominated by the NPP.
Yeah.
So obviously say NDC is so. Now Kokofa obi to say mayor ewo Kumasi now see into the swaba. Obviously NPP for be dominating at NDC.
Yeah.
And it's the same case in the Volta region.
Inti say Koba say bema mpuntu duma so ayeden. Ayeden.
Yeah.
Wahu. Eni nti asade no entimu nyeden entimu emba so no. Be me no mom no madesre dey amesre say assembly members no mom say betimi hwe sa na ema no yie. Because okofa government and as a president nominate you be e no ba. Na say we say oba be gisika ansa na watu aba de amana. Kai hu say sa nipa we say no once I no so na adwen say wo pay NCE adi ne de kwan obefa so a obenya saa o 4,000 say 2,000 no e de ama no obefa e se be declare so fie I good
me thoughts me that
say un declare o ade enya new thing
the police officer should rather be
they be able to tackle this issue and I say you call the monetization in the endorsement of the MMDCs and declaration of assets. Any of them?
I think that this thing should be disregarded with the contempt it deserves. And you see, the caliber of people. A letter now to Afenyo Markin. The caliber of people we are talking about. This is a video that is circulating.
Yeah.
A man for more di one dance here. What happens? It's not just about a video because every video needs to be captured. They see you know. But there were people there, journalists, and as a phone will be why now Babu and because a police officer indeed attacked this gentleman. All of a sudden, he's painting the narrative. Nipana or not a victim, no, or try to make him your friend saying
so this is a video. But you can still
and if nothing at all, an MP you have no right. So the one say police officer also uniform. You have no right. So we know that's a different thing. And the same person turns around and then trust statement about and things say the police officer should rather be investigated. It's just a ploy just to sway the whole conversation because the focus will rather be on the gentleman, not on him. Yeah. And I'm sure the Ghana Police Service, or more winning, their integrity is on the line. So I'm back to now. I'm a man for attack or more. Oh, who for the Muyebi? Because after this incident, police for no more holding in. They should even be sanctioned. Why they did not arrest him?
All police, not police for the so patch.
Yes.
Not police for more patch. They pay a boom for.
Sir, that tells you how weak our institutions are, because in other jurisdictions you cannot stretch your hand and poke a police officer even in the face, let alone say what they will say born, and then the officers there will be saying honorable. And then today he's flipping the narrative, and that is who they are.
Maybe so he has a superior evidence.
Oh, what superior evidence? And I'm telling you, sir, the reason why young people today don't respect people working with honorable, these are some of the things. Dishonorable character. They lack candor, they lack integrity, and these are dishonest bunch of individuals. Yeah, Claudio with political power, and they think they are sitting on the moon. And I think the coming days in the way, with the monetization, I'm not sure anybody is surprised. Because my culture, that I say, the entire political landscape, has been monetized.
No, but is it not worrying?
It's a creeping culture.
Yes.
I am Godfrey.
John Dramani Mahama, who is the president, duly elected. Akwakoyi nanemisini say omunkwatu no swaba na government appointees any assembly members ambe endorse na masanso agires
no
5,000 4,000 3,000 each.
No, you should understand say it's a culture you created that. So people think say it's a normal thing. When you create such a sick culture and nobody act on them, we normalize it. In recent time, you know how monetization are taking the center stage of our politics, and I've told you, sir. Because of that, I give you a lot of idiots take it to enter into the political space because they have money. They speak and you become warriors. Now when you see free or Mabaka politics, who make decisions, but because they have money. Because we don't vet people where they got their money from. So the monetization, cripple that culture, and access and some of these things are normal. So for you shouldn't be surprised. It's normal thing. So we call your parliament and for within political party. But we have political structure the most corrupt group of people who are your political party delegate. How does that free? Your political structure is a corrupt group of people who are your political party delegate, because that is why the whole corruption is started from.
Are equally guilty?
That is why I'm telling you.
Delegates
no, and they too, if you don't give it to them, they will not vote for you. So JB, that is the culture that has been created. And in Nippon be free constituency or MP take it. Na ka wabogu hono. Enya kaketwa. And again, wababa MP na wako constituency. Me say on a weekend we MP. Wudi ho agura fundaka ahodo abetono because obi obeba bia mebusuani ewo obaji sika free ho obi ko wedding obi ko adore. So we've created the whole thing to look like say it's a money venture nipa no kwa sika puduo na ye odam enti bra na baji usika. And I don't say in such a way, say people who rise to political prominence, you know, because they don't serve people. No, nipano eduru say if I don't take my pound of flesh at this time, I no. What are some Americano? And they will do everything because, for instance, this you as if we're not doing say, someone and taking a pound of flesh and now, or nyako we are friend no fact. You see that kind of way, no? So that is the culture, and you don't blame the people no more general. You don't blame the Etiano. You blame the system that we have created.
Ivan, the most unfortunate aspect in this say a DC can be sacked tomorrow. So you go and pay like what call mobilize about 100 or 200 or 300,000 or 400,000. Now they are called assembly members. No matter swaba. That's if you are in the news and in your news neighbor and as a president at his own discretion, he can just sack you. No,
you live. If you understand politics, they live by the moment. So they live by the moment. You understand? So you do everything to secure your position.
But they are to me. I will have about more than 500,000 or 600,000 citizens. They are talking say, may they call election or may they come here to me swab or something like that.
No,
I mean sometimes some of these things.
No, you don't blame. And I say you don't blame them. There is a culture, a sick culture we have created. Say, you may have all the brain in the world, all the intelligence, all the ideas. If you don't have money, you cannot survive in the political arena. And that is why the state must do everything to ensure that we crack down on some of these things. Are you saying that within the assembly, people know that they are not paying money?
They know.
So who is acting on them?
And Medina losing bonus. Was some part of Eastern region. Many few other constituencies. No mutual losing bonus. Oko other part of the regions or more endorse or more MMDCs now. Most of them, and even some of them even came out to say, first one they no so to as 5,000. And the Kokoba say or more assembly members in the region. Oko be a few Koko did this scandal. Yes, somebody did you know. Says Canada Messadia Mamuti. Mufama. The moment did be Madame Diamam. Unfortunately, that person's name wasn't mentioned. And when we continue like this, the system will not be well taken care of. Politics now a very romantic or lucrative venture for everybody to just step in, just all in the name of money. Innocent.
Yeah, so I know who say politics in any partner, my culture say human beings. If you don't create framework, about regulating the way they act. Every human being who has potential to click to their destructive best. We are very dangerous people. Human being was not created to be good. We were created to learn to be good. Naturally, we were all born bad. You understand? So you need to create systems and institutions to regulate human behavior. So once me and yes, as a state, I don't expect man say on his own he will do the right thing. Because there are those you need to learn to be good, but to be bad there you don't learn it. That is why we say untrained criminals. We train people to be good. So until such system number say as I'm making sure say we fuck crime this way to Sanyama we say and some way okay who doesn't know Obiani said this is what goes on within our system. Political party answer the we political party events a candidate for a political party now carrying as for our board and now the so another day people are more what they take. The skills, the intellectual know-how to be able to help to navigate through this stormy circumstance here, you know, because they don't have cash, they will sit back and watch people who have money to go in and destroy the estate for us. And that's exactly what we've been witnessing in recent times. Party chairman, constituency chairman, wine chairman. See the caliber of people coming up.
Yeah.
And some of these idiots very soon, because they have money, they will tell you that they want to be president. Because they have cash. So there is no room for intellectualism, that kind of merit. Nipano, the ability to do. The space, you know, has been hijacked by these high-stake bidders. They have money and they can do everything. And as you use and system to deflate these things and tell people, say, governance leadership is never about money. It is about people who have the ideas, people with vision. Because if you go out there and sell that particular thing to Obia, for instance, me pay MP, me or constituency. Now, but Jimmy Sikana me took me the money we can you come to me and say me baby mao? Because I can't mabono. Some of them are owning the banks. Some of them are owning the banks huge sums of money. Some have taken money from loan sharks and they are paying. They have to pay. Obi have sponsor any contract be a family. That's what they do. You understand? So some of these things, you know, explain how ineffective the whole system has become. Now, Chroma it me a after 1 year, na kwana say what be say ho de ntia because nipa na oye kwan no kata ya gigi free sika na ka na kakra bi. So you see niema ye kan nyina are just symptoms. O dwell on that you make a mistake. A systemic way be I engulf a system. So corruption is endemic and is pervasive. What are some of the approach you may go after some of these things to ensure that we distill corruption, even if we cannot defeat it, we reduce it to a barest minimum and me affect the focus of this nation. And that is what we need to do. And yes, sir, there can just portions of it. Yafa DC, the corruption going on everywhere. A parliament during the approval. Deba na nkoso okroma say nya no mo frɛ Oliver Ohono and over the years we've been hearing this or say chairman Sabeka say somebody called him to bribe the side and for you understand asam no by how investigate here even parliament crowd that accusation came up till date nobody investigated you understand so for me a culture ya creative and we seem comfortable with it and it explains why the state is sinking. We really need to be very ready and say enough of this creeping culture. I ain't go for your political winner. I say no. I put you away the intellectuals away because no decent-minded individual me constituency me compare MP. Na ma betua sika ma menye. I won't give you one city because sika na betua ntia na. Me work crab into your because me we are me ba serve. If I'm coming to serve you, what should I pay? You understand? And that is the culture that we need to institute. For instance, if you go out there, Ghana has if people want to go into the army, for instance, look at some of the bribes people pay. But in America and other places, if you sign up, they give you bonus for signing because it's a risk adventure in a woko siki. You can lose your life, you can lose your leg. What I say. But why should a young man in Ghana dedicating who say I want to be in the army should go and pay bribe? What about them? Police officer or police who so bribe or we are going bank and I'm robber bar on the first target obekuno. Or the brilliant van and a man to Gold Coast to a in the nine so I'm robber bar, I'm robber nukra, pistol or chiawakuno. This is a risk these people are taking and you are telling them say or no make you bribe and sign off on a police officer. Oh more damn. These are things we've normalized in this country, you understand? People who sign for police would rather be given bonus. So because of our core army, we should give them bonus, not bribe from them. But the culture we've created now, normal. Everybody is aware. The political class, everybody is privy to this sick culture. I ain't go for your political way, no, but we seem normal. So for me, this whole monetization thing, no, we need a conscious, deliberate effort. You bet the framework me adi away with all these things, but all facets of society. Obi ko police agent bribe, or ko soldier agent bribe, or customer agent bribe, nursing agent bribe,
nursing training and police.
And if you go to some of the universities, some of the programs they do, or Nim said they are taking 20 people, they will sell form to 2,000 people and take their money. And who are buying that way? I don't know that way. If you go to some of the universities, they know say they have your friends a space for 200 students. They will sell form to over 2,000 people, shortlist about 1,005 for interview and take money from them. At the end of the day, near for 200. And if the state institutions are robbing the people, how much more ordinary person? So system institution are setting and robbing a man for a chrono enterprise and I setting a they are benefiting no be they benefiting no kasa. And that is the sick culture that we need to deflate. With this asset declaration thing,
in the next I think 1 minute.
With this, for me, I think that the kind of impact as you frame no, and for me, it's even becoming unnecessary because Nepal be declared a shame from the so nobody is verifying as a form. We need some pragmatic approach. Say Nepal the bar. We need independent way. They will go and verify and know say because obi bet me akobo send the cotton account. Obi bet me akojo obi dan papers no was sign yan dey ontua sika bia. People can do all these things because in the name say me ba me own. Exactly.
Obi si dan obi we what trasa obi we.
Yes, and I make out say criminals first and the criminals are very intelligent people, very sophisticated in mind. It's a very sophisticated enterprise. Who you fool you not survive. So some of these people can maneuver their way. The state need to institute measures to be able to verify and check all these things to know say indeed Nipan and some now kind of na sana just church or never good paper so the other one Ntim church or never good paper.
Let's just 30 seconds now.
Okay, yeah, now Ivan Kyei
stop galam say no sika no e won so ebi ekoho owi na waka say onne ne yere private account na abamu ne de wo mo set sa account ne say e bia aban pesika bi hye ni manum ya no na mo de akoyi free sa account ni individual person All right. Yeah.
Because my culture say, you know, we media no fixate on sensational news, those kind of stuff. As my brand can hear complete nonsense. This is your friend say in summer we need to just trash it, and because in some kind of just nyansa be him, and I doubt say every no bar I'll be very surprised. Because me, I think it's one of those diversional taxes and for them. Even let's say some now cannot no correct.
Yeah.
Negate the fact that monies were stolen from state account. Doesn't negate the fact that he cloned state bank account, transfer money from this account to this account, and at the end of the day, no, we cannot find those monies. Isn't it the fact that he bought estate houses? He paid cash $1 million. Has he been able to tell us where he got those money from? And this is absolute nonsense. You see, we invest too much in emotional politicking. So if you know don't deal with the fact. Sway the whole nation to the emotional line, you will survive. And that's exactly what is happening. At the end of the day, National Signals Brew, and your more finance opposition parties to buy is absolute nonsense. And the opposition party, I won't country. Be bold enough and mention who you gave the money to. You understand? Even if you gave the money to somebody, even in the NDC, we don't care. All we know is that you stole money. And we want you to account. The other command, financing MP. That is not your business. You see, we are not living in a banana republic where monies can move from one account to any other account. There is a legal framework where monies can go. Baby, anything outside your mandate, all your mind and now say you have willfully caused financial loss to the state, and this guy has foolishly caused financial loss to the state. All that he's doing is to implicate a lot of people, because the very moment he's able to rope in NDC, communicators, me say, man, then we've balanced the equation. Then the focus will move from Adubuahen, then some more crime opposition. This is absolute rubbish that nobody should even consider. The questions I was is what we need to. Monies were given to you as director of National Signals Brew. Monies, you cloned and created a separate account bearing the same name. The criminal intent alone can land you in jail. Because you're not supposed to do that. Then the gentleman went ahead to transfer money from this account to this account. What is his explanation? Says state in here is emergency or what state account, they will transfer from You see, we don't need to give oxygen of publicity to some of this nonsense. See, yes, I need party seminar. Me say on my way the book. Because people will steal and will always find a way to spin narrative. Sabi about survival. Because Niamana Brantena, you know, cratches as a Nimyansa, and I'm not catching on because explanation or by and dinner or by can. Satachi and a kayo, so why a kayo. And you manufacture this nonsense, push it to the media, and you want the reasonable men of conviction in society to say, so why are there? No, so what is the motive behind this particular thing? Or the car when you are why are there now? Because you are not supposed to be financing political party within the operations of Wene and Kahon. Again, are you supposed to finance your friends in Parliament? Parliament, who is Sika Mobia, why not the moment, and you were doing as for them. Sikana or the Kokoto estate in as for them. I think so. You see, this thing is absolute nonsense. Focus on the Attorney General. So you see, there be a Ghana Genesis here now. Adia ba ko ama Ghana for to abati akufuado corruption. And Ghana need every single reasonable minded person out there is suspecting say the John Mahama government will be very radical, very vicious in dealing with some of these ruthless criminals. We don't care how you do it. Once you are within the remit of the law, you make sure that these criminals, these organized criminals, don't get away with their crime. It doesn't matter how they try to spin the narrative. In the coming days, they will be mentioning names specific, trying to accuse and implicate individuals. I don't care even if you give money to John Mahama. I don't care. Because what I say. So how you wasted those monies in as for them? The Ghana for your name say yeah this ukoji sikasa with the koto surveillance equipment. Sure. In the end, you didn't buy. Yeah. You ended up using the money to buy private properties. And I wouldn't send me Santino. You did all these transactions using bank account, doing transfer. When you know say this transfer no always leave a back trace. Now say obia a crack or primary school grab boss and no way. And this weak-minded person was the person mining said the whole intelligence organization. That tells you how porous this country is. If this weak-minded individual and are now in charge of the national security, it tells you the kind of national security that we had at the time. They are just exposing themselves, and I'll be very surprised if attaching as a person went through this thing and let it out. You see why recent time people are losing a lot of respect for so-called lawyers. Because you see, a lawyer is not about the degree on paper. It is about the clarity of thought, the reasoning acumen that you have, and how you are able to decipher things. Who said, "Never way as a way a reasonable men of society will not agree to this, they will impugn it, and once they impugn it, our integrity will become a casualty." If you are a lawyer and you don't look at some of these things and you think it's just political, we can just spin and throw this thing out there, me, I will see you for who you are, because when I see you next time, I will never respect you. You understand? But unfortunately, the Ghana and Kwane Kaso Biko school, they just also didn't want to answer. I just acquired them for certificate, the bachelor answer. But yeah, you can't be a learned or be a very intelligent. You don't need a certificate. When the person open their mouth and they're talking, you should be able to know, this guy is very smart, very intelligent. That is all that you go to you. And yes, I just certificate we do one dance answer. And that's nam no, we have the Kobitina and nam. What are some American? We really need to be very serious in this country. Attorney General, when's the prosecution delay? Because I Ghana for a channel form. Yeah, I know how ready they are. Say abandon now issues of this nature, you toy with it. Now they don't go through with prosecution. Trust me. After 1 year, the government will get dirty. So they need to do everything to ensure that these criminals and several other criminals out there, we go after them. Yeah, it's not just this one. Now, no, make sky training as a form. Attorney General should make sure that because these people getting them prosecuted is so easy. Because even how they conceive those stupid ideas now enough to land them in jail. For instance, yes, a sky train. Training the numbers as a cranny, and do more dama. Yeah, over Tenase as a board chairman, the pen and see papers. Oh, Matthias, Yamon Kofa, the Edbefa William Numera, Chrome had trainer from crying Nibi. So that silly conception of an idea Nankasa is enough to land you in jail. And at the end of the day, they went ahead, pumped $2 million into an offshore account. Besin there, sky training your mind. Now, who could jail will easy. You see, we need to begin to allow people to suffer for their crimes. For instance, now make about the National Cathedral. It's one thing that I bind a giant man that I will never forgive them. Because we all saw from the beginning. Even young men in this country they don't hold PhD. They are not lawyers. They are not medical doctors. They could see from their house that this was a stupid initiative that the state was venturing into. We have a and now India, in terms of technology, rise to a point and America, most of the companies are outsourcing most of their jobs to them in terms of IT. And do for a bank, me person me who me bank balance in as for now you route to call to somebody in India or never more responses in as for because those jobs in India has been outsourced. Telecommunication companies in as for if you want clarity, they will route the call to other places because these people have become technologically savvy. People are taking advantage. So we are Maya. You train your people to take advantage of the digital economy. The Kosi Cathedral and Yamedia Boniacha and more Dama Greenway, the 12th century and Fantina has said. That's why I told you, say, Yakofa or your fans say, Yakofa, we are living in a digital world and Yakofa Nipa, 12th century, and a Mobabe Gum, and a Woodin Sem. And the cathedral, some by a software as a form of mobile, a bank to and 58 Akoshiagu. I'm who say, yes, yeah, audited and as a single silly decision that was made. Me, it is all about Sikana Yasino. Even ideas now, if it is foolish, we need to find sanction people for that. And for me, that is what we need to do to set a stage. Say, so we are CEO, we are government, and as the or mind be
yeah.
You cannot be taking foolish decisions. Are those decisions, you know, our high-stake implication on the fortunes of this country and get away because you are CEO? We need to make sure that we punish people for their crimes. So, Attorney General, there, or somebody, I'm telling you, because if he doesn't go through with this prosecution, every will be Ghana. I'm telling you, because the heat that will be coming. I'm telling you, because Ghanaians will never forgive him, and I know he will do. So I'm cautioning him, and I'm also urging him, he should go ahead. He should not lose focus. Some of these things coming up are absolute nonsense. Some of this nonsense being manufactured now be coming up, but he should be very careful, stay focused, and make sure. A single person be our enough way on him will be prosecuted, because that is what Ghanaians want. They want the judiciary to be sanitized.
Yeah.
They want criminals to go to jail just to send a message to people within this government. Say, also that is the fate awaiting you. You see, over the years, people sitting afar are coming to a conclusion. Say there is a certain collusion between both political parties to steal. That is the impression out there. So if you don't do that, then it will go to your friend saying, you scratch my back, I scratch your back. But we saw how these people stole with impunity, disrespected the people of this country. Make sure, say, even Ghana for more sika investment, these unwitting criminals cannot go scot-free. We need to make sure that we punish them for who they are, for what they have done for against this country. Say, going forward, you know, who say, or minor, say, because your minor will fail to punish crimes. Or minor, so we state that there are two things you cannot do: show weakness, show mercy. The very moment you begin to do some of these things, you are done. But Obia will take advantage. Oh, the Mahama, the Betchay, oh, where dear, and Chrome has a assembly now, software now him for Nam Dance no Copacha. President, you can never come to me so a pacho. Because I don't know about that jail. Oh, because assembly and Semuna don't come to me. Now you know whom and him cry, you will not even come. You will not even come. So So we need to do that. South Korea, are you aware that Omo president? The whole president. This is not the first time. Previous president because of Samsung way on jail, and several other high-stake individuals in other jurisdictions have suffered for some decisions that they made. But Ghana, how people prison or you hear near or be contomere or hear near or comedy now. Now people are stealing with millions, and the same poor people in the name of emotion will come and they'll be singing praises for some of these criminals because we are a party for Nippon. We need to protect their state and some of these things. So some of these things, you know, a section of the media will be spinning it in a bid to justify for some that kind of false equivalence and as forth. But you see, no smart or witty mind out there will fall for this crap. Nonsense is nonsense that has been manufactured just to sway the focus. But I am urging the Attorney General to stay on his ground and make sure, sir, he prosecute these people. The prosecution has started. He should not waver. He should go ahead and do it. Some of these nonsense will be coming about.
Because we run a letter now. The one come the transaction between Ghana Water Company Limited and the private account.
Yes.
Because 1.3 million Ghana cedis every month. That is that is 1.3, right?
Oh yes.
Because 600,000 Ghana cedis, and there was a for every 2 weeks. To Kaboma, that's 1.3.
Yes.
Yes. And no, there one come once because and no was a Sikano qua buying account.
Yes.
But one no just Sikana, no what short check, no what diverted their call in a private account.
Yes.
Services and also internet service. No, I buying there.
Yes. And you see that you no appointee, even President Mahama Kra a new right to move state money to his private account for no reason. And nobody should be defending these things. I don't know why people are able to find energy and conviction to defend some of this nonsense. The mere fact that the gentleman cloned account and signatory to those accounts, account, that is criminal intent, can be established, and you need to suffer for that. So where you transfer money to, say me meti here in America radio now finance me, you cannot use that to wriggle out of the Niema why. What I say na make say. The mere fact is that Niema na woyano were in direct contravention with established rules of engagement, bad books of the government, and then you have to be dealt with. Simple as that. Baby, as you cannot call and for we can later do with it. But for me, some not kind of question because when I was here, say, with the Sikano Kocaine Israeli company, so how come they never catch and say, oh, the financing way? Sikano move from an account there to Todano Kamasem, where he was able to pay for those Sikano Kamasem. Nayere properties are only in her name or Kamasem. A job man Ben and all you come here, or to me, and yes, Sikano. That is why I make a choice. This lifestyle audit, we need to be very, 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 very way. Many property yeah. As people are in government today, we should put surveillance on every single individual. They are pushing money to properties they are buying, and their strategy. Most Ghanaian politicians say they will steal money, buy property, and they will put it in somebody's name.
Yeah, often it didn't. So
no.
So tracing it will even be difficult.
About 90% of Ghanaian politicians steal money, they buy properties, and they registered in relative or distant friend their name. So we say state, and that is why we have intelligence distance. Say state near ready to delve into some of these. You'll be able to find out and deal with them, and that is the best way. Some of these things for me, I won't fall for some of this nonsense.
All right, my make sure o message is one or two na remember Ivan Sobak. Ebenezer Mokto wudin de em say the shadow tabo ni ye ema or say no crepa and a more canoya Tracy Bensa was it until I see these criminals NPP going to jail. Jomahama, you are not doing anything extraordinary. Yes. I swear.
Yes.
Conscious Agbenu Akosu was say I trust innocent na Neniaje or say what's it the Kobit now guy no and Neniaje who do Tracy Emudia Hinam when Yabra was but I think said Tracy asem na watch no a deep it will take a deep-minded person
yes.
to understand because Dana make say Ghana for by a Troy no ora na na Ghana for any able to abade vim near the to abade na na ora because ya nim san krofo bia wiayen
yes
and to say the innocent ken ya chi nipa no ahia se no obubodi o we ka ho said the be ya ebe yet say oh onu kwa na nko onya ahio na wodi sika ne manipa na adwen be na tachi da wodi sai sika wana soma asefa sika man obi when the papa mu aka we o say the to bolem and ade bi ma parliamentary select committee na ade bi ma hwan yo ye to twere bolem intention nkwampo ye criminal
men feel no you see way I old playbook
yeah
if you go back to yes Colombia
why me dey anya za no kai and na mo jijimi amebodi na aye kwamsi na asem na ye say
enya ne okọ Colombia Pablo Escobar days do you know what he was doing? Oton drugs okunipa ye bi onya sika ne wi na ochema ahiafo. That was what he was doing, financing poor people. But it doesn't justify say
exactly the point.
It's an old playbook criminals have been using. El Chapo in the offense in Mexico. That's exactly what he's doing. They will sell drugs to destroy people, kill people. Onya sika na what you feel here ni otimi bra $1 million fa bobra. But does it justify that?
Not at all.
The money is a crime money. You understand? It does not justify it. So the Attorney General needs to sit up. There are a lot of, I know, be framing. Also 120 days, whatever. They don't care about anything. All that they want to see is to see these criminals in jail. That is the only thing that matters to them. Until that is done, nothing is done. So, yes, because we saw what happened in this country. Yeah, nipa no mu wia ne senko mu yenyansa fo kra nka na obenya nipa onim nyansa no sen wia wo na wo san ede ne na na boni so di nkrase sem san kire wo and that pain na Ghana for say these people must go to jail.
All right, John Kwaku Sabi was Ivan is a great guy. Joseph Dawumo Also, good morning, big man. Yeah, that's say. Yami Inshabo. Oba no wa follow, no wa share. Na odo comment out to us. Ni akenkai edi ama. Me sure say demonstration ni di hu nkoma. Grofo match pass ya wo mukoyi. They say the PM eye sumbo no.
Yeah.
Aha, say sumbo no na ye case because video na ba ya ye nya ye hu bi ne de. Afenyo Markin de bob post ni nasum. Ba Afenyo Markin krata or tworo ye nra me kan ye no wo say. Posi ni no na di kan ball no no born bossa na afi na koma loko nyame nkwan collapse ye national service ni bi na brain nsuo na omde ne kwotwere edan bi ho e na parliament clerk bi be fa no de ne kwada restroom enye sanko collapse nke beti no aye obituary ene ensema wa tworo bebre nti sa no onu police na di kan ball no ana because ye wo say after asumbo no onya energy to aso koye de na obeye nti at one point no koda restroom at one point ye bre nsu anka wo collapse
oh yeah joker and I make say you see Afenyo Markin is a joker you see in some now can he's rather exposing himself so he's saying say the police officer na born asum and na command kayati and I find you didn't so go and the call and oba onya hoden back no police officer you see some of these things you see you are not maybe not going so in a political campaign platform this now because there will be uncheck fact you obetimi atwo gum no fa ho adi the fact in say we are talking about somebody who is a sitting MP minority leader of parliament. You see a police officer in a uniform. You know the uniform symbolizes authority of the state. The person, you know, because of the uniform he wears, you know very well, say, what we remember, I don't tomra, we MP. What's now when someone assume in a video, the best thing you can do is to just apologize to the people. You don't just try to spin the narrative. And you see, that is the old playbook of the MPP. Maybe I sometimes I'm surprised people don't see these things. I don't know what an issue is. You see how they are spinning the narrative. It's the same thing. This thing has happened. There is a video circulating. I am very bad for his image and then as a forum. Yet he's trying to spin the narrative. And there are dogs within the media who fall for some of these things and they're also pushing it. The fact is that why would a sitting MP attack a police officer in a uniform? A police officer no say nya wona go ye demonstration ka o ma ho.
Yes.
And now Afenyo Markin is calling for equity. All of a sudden the MPP as a political party are so patriotic to the sense that they care so much about Ghana democracy. Say Ghana for answer na NDC ni John Mahama say judiciary. Na me say since when? Ana omo sense of nationalism and patriotism no ebe wura since when? Koyatena Kroma in the last 8 years, some president appointees in Kroma. They did not only threaten the foundation of our democracy, but endanger the very life of our people. We saw overriding tempering of our judiciary. Appointment individuals are any more quiet for staffing, not just the Supreme Court. Now, High Court, your friend is saying. The appeals court individuals are you do kwasi obi asem na wudi tie nipa kro wi na yabo abaso ne atamno da kwasi Supreme Court. Whole lot of nasty stuff happened in this country. At that time no Afenyo Markin and Co could not save our judiciary because it was okay for them. For me as a young man watching these people from afar, I see said these are fancy jokers out there that nobody should take them serious because we've gotten now no me can say me chiro has say na I'm on social media we said that video were trending. The funny aspect of it and now man for air share but the impact of the message the people are now getting me say generation na ye wom no we don't threaten people me MP and I said me say generation we know I say I'm for a pet mouse social media now or before no I say ma me watakra na man for nyira mo be twem pana no say tell people why you have to be respected. Tell people why this thing is not good and they should not go there. Don't threaten people. Say say. No, that shouldn't be the impact of the message. So why yes, I now we think say because you are just an MP and for that matter people respect you. You will end up in the gutters because people will see you for who you are. The mere fact is MP and the infantry and the power to attack a police officer in uniform, and instead of you to apologize, you are just trying to spin the narrative to make it look like the gentleman attack you. Your narrative doesn't even make sense. It defies logic, it defies reasoning and common sense. Because what's Obama when you brew and I found no call baby. And the Kojo now buy and also so boni be an answer say does it even make sense in any way? So for me, I think that these people should be disregarded. Omono Nana Mekacho said the NPP has now become a sinking enterprise. It's a party that is going down. Instead of them to elect reasonable men of conviction to bring the party back, there are a lot of intelligent people in the NPP. And Mekacho said, Obeti se boachi eja akone sa adani mo hwan ala na se for. These are men na uti omonum kasa you could see say these are men of substance. These are people who should be leading the rehabilitation of the party, not an emotional stricken individuals who come, they open their mouth and they get people angry the more. MPP by oppositioning, Ghana for even getting more fed up and angry with the way and manner they are acting. Because they become so much combative. This is a party that was known to be a party of intellectuals.
Yeah.
Mahama Basia, Abadan station boys, Omo Kasao to Kura Otinchana or Osima or Sianfim. But the intellectuals no more party no more. Yeah. All of them have been relegated to the background. And all of them have become insignificant in the affairs of the party. And they are liberating, quote unquote, this bunch of emotional idiots. And destroying the fortunes of the party. For me, I care about the MPP coming back as a strong political party to be the opposition we want them to do. You understand? But as long as they continue to allow these jokers, these attention seekers, to continue to dominate the news for bad reasons. Now, at the end of the day, the party will not get back. Opesa what's here? Sanya mo fa to mo so na nse so mo koye thank you to.
Yeah.
Unse we na koye se kantwe na meku me won na se for. Ekosi say they've suspended it. It ended up in another big dog fight. Dog bite dog. Kennedy yes, and dog bite dog. Exactly. Yeah. So this whole thing, you see how. So we are Nipa now party. You should be worried. This is a party under Kufuor time. High pay to be party of intellectuals and so forth. Now taxi drivers from America and so forth. Of course, some back room. The catch is what university. About university for corners. These jokers came into this country, they stole from the state, and now they've got him money talking nonsense on TV. Say, men are making sikana, men are making way. You see, they need to come down from the high horses. Arrogance, me say, in this space, our politics, in this space, our governance. Yeah, do you know why people become arrogant when they get political power? Yeah, they be a funny inferiority complex. When you don't believe in yourself, you think that you have nothing to offer. Yeah. You need external to hang on to become relevant. And Nipano on their own, he knows that he cannot compete. He has nothing to convince you. So Osikadie and I say any other material thing coming back to complement and taking care of those things he's lacking. Yeah. And become so much arrogant to the sense that he's not even ready to listen to you again. When people lack wisdom and intelligence, they don't want to engage you in argument. So what they do is they become very vocal and very frontal. And the one in can't say, Mukasamu come na makanyansa sema, he cannot survive. So I say I didn't talk. And the growing up, Uko school as a teacher anyway, Timo, no Sane Mano, I beneath it in most of them. Because they have certain intellectual weakness. I don't even want students to get closer to expose them. It's the reason why when near them, you will not even get close, they ward you off with that kind of behavior, that kind of aggression. And for me, the MPP, those ala nena se forum, ala minim se wajayo so basi baba and those other individuals, they need to take the center stage and rescue their party from these criminals and attention seekers. Because as long as the MPP continue to be in the hands of these jokers, trust me, the party will go nowhere. But the party need to come back, regroup, and at least act as a reasonable opposition. Criticizing, and for me, tell me what moral authority does the MPP as a political party have at this time to be talking the way they are talking? But this is a party while wrecking the foundations of this country. They've destroyed this country. The economy of this country was on the downward spiral. And John Mahama by within 4 months was a wine. Look at how the dollar has been able to stabilize. What besides how is able to do this? Senka Baumiane MPP pension and we see and can lectures are hold on more organizing Okrumano and Kenya the Ketua. But here we are once again.
Yeah.
People are not even talking about it. The John Mahama is not even celebrating this particular feast, though. But it's a great achievement. What me here? And the city. So for me, I think that we need to stay focused. These people are ready to learn their lessons. Arrogance, no more the power. That kind of unwitty decisions, no more make it at the time. No, is the same. Fighting for any answer any argument team. Now no catch out the Ghana Bar Association. Another group of people, they were just barking like dogs. They were not able to tell you what John Mahama has done wrong, and for that matter, no, that's all punish you will be. But see, what will be at reasons. And you know, as you go back to what John Mahama has done. These are crazy bunch of individuals because you see the power to suspend or not to suspend Chief Justice, you know, the Constitution, the President okay, Article 146 down was or say, see it may establish a premier facility. Now say you set up a committee. The President has the power either to suspend or allow the Chief Justice. That is a discretionary injunction on the President, and only him alone. We are Ghana Bar Association. I was say on resign. To me, one case I said damn the whole team because you should know law. That's what I'm telling you. So as a lawmaker, as a lawyer, you should not be talking like somebody who make coffin. Because no, you want to say fundaka. But as a lawyer, if you are talking like somebody, you know very well that that particular President alone. So why will you interfere? He can decide to or not to. But to say yeah, the name court because I exercise no chess, I said be a damn baby. That is why the association has become some kind of a political movement. So for me, I think that we need to focus and stick to
7 years. And then 120.
Okay. My mention what here for Namenkasa. I think that a numeric president will be addressing the nation. Now on one kasa atunanum to Akacha Ghana for because Abrana campaign Kosono, he made a promise to the people of this country. So the first 120 days, a social contract on the Ghana for a sign. Sa Abra betwaba no ade ba kwana edi ahim e wokromha aye the level of trust na aweni in people omo occupy your friend saying leadership position in this country. Because in the last 8 years yehu kwan bia ase nipa ko bi afanyansa kwan beje political power yakọ nipa nan so akokasa kire omo na nipa nya yemu gidie na omo de tumu ya mayen. But they decided to use the power to further their personal parochial interest instead of say yebeye de bema Ghana ni asitire matono enti yebenya a lot of generational thieves. Generational thief ni say one person will steal and steal massively to the extent say or setting himself up ne man ne nanan mo mudi na chi nyina na obi abeye. Typical example de adubo ahenye. So power na Ghana for nya kokodro de share o mampanyini nsa se onjina sa tumi no so na ontoto neema na neema emeyeye no ebeye akwanya ye bietu ma people were just robbing the estate left right center, and at the end of the day you could not see a single actionable plan by the president and as an initiative by the president say you dim be remedy the situation and answer obi foma yebe ma mrane nhihye wo ho ni nadi ama nipa na hu say indeed o man na hotra keke say obetim de won sa bo man sikam ye hu sisila da pa no ma over millions of dollars egu o mpaase several other individuals are dirty corruption scandals besene koye. So ye koduru baby aboache na Ghana ni gidie e wo amamuo mu na aban mu na ekofom it got to a point na Ghana for were chanting say sebi eku kura ku dita kura ye better than the democracy. Because now the practicing was some kind of a phony democracy. On paper, people think this is a democracy, but you could see clearly say it was just a small screen. Beneath it, it was a Ponzi scheme. Some individuals were just using it just to further. So before elections, na amount for bomobu a spread yama amount for cross spread. All the politicians, you heard that conversation in this country. But President Mahama reiterated his commitment to the people of this country. Say this time round, this is somebody who has been president before. Unfortunately enough, is the first person to be back again. You need to revive the trust man for war in the political establishment, because anywhere in the world, so ukwana uhu say ade friend the country is Ade eba ho ban enye soldiers, enye police. The trust and the confidence citizens repose in that establishment, and the money is strong. So the very moment you see people withdrawing that trust and confidence, the estate becomes shaky and vulnerable. So I go to the Middle East. What happened in Tunisia in 2012, 2010? When the infamous Jasmine Revolution kick-started, man for who said, Adewe kosu Tunisia no. Neighboring countries who say, Yansu, you need trust wa by muno, or join. It spread like a bushfire. I know the day, there are a lot of presidents in the Middle East. Okay, North Africa, yes. Egypt, Tunisia, Morocco, and several other countries. So it shows that trust and confidence is key. So President Mahama Bana or Babak, Adiabena or just to sustain and revive that trust among for ye. And I'll catch the Ghana for say, made the 120-day social contract. Samu Jinasuna Motua Bamamia. Fortunately, we went to the polls. Ghanaians voted massively. And in the history of this country, Young Kotua Bama opposition party in so far such a humiliating defeat in the history of this country as the MPP as a political party so far. Clearly, a choice said it was affirmation. Ghana for say. Nsamna papa no kanomu ojidie wom. So watch it. So be your president, you have no right to veer off from this social contract I want to Ghana for saying. And here we are once again a year what has been done. For me, I think say the Biamakacha man for said this is a new version of John Mahama. He is very precise, very concise. The clarity of thought. He's very bold and he knows what he's doing. And if you look at some of the decisions he's taken so far, clearly you know say this is a man who is on top of what he's doing. You understand? Clearly, a choice is sitting at the sidelines for 8 good years, He's learned his lessons. He has even become more sharper and more efficient. And that is why the way a man you see that kind of way. For instance, over the years, Adiaba Ghana for sorority sa amamuo kase set it up. Na yetua man foka. Because financing a huge government in Ankasa na have a toll on government. Akufo-Addo catch and say, "Minuanom, adwuma no so." Enti se may appoint a large sum of government and obetimi ma adwuma no. That particular assertion by President Akufo-Addo defy a theory of modern governance, which is premised on efficiency. Efficiency is about small numbers, multitasking, and people doing things. Yeah. And Yamfa crowd and your government. But President Akufo-Addo told us he needed a crowd. Ghana got furious because no more, it became the worst government in the history of this country. So the number became useless. So you go into elections, people were asking, said the size of government is something needed to be done about it. President Mahama made that commitment, and truly, when he won power, that is one of the first things that he did. So you see, I listened to some lecturers and some so-called FS economists or more monetary value. What they to say appointment and what is so from way to way crowd in terms of way Sikando is saying. You see, and I'm say governance, you need to be a deep thinker before you understand certain things.
To be a deep thinker.
Yes. If you are an emotional person, you always make the valuable point. But you need to be a deep thinker. A deep thinker, not just say Mahama numbers no kati isn't just about the monetary gain the country will get, but it's a symbolic gesture I will pay to the people of this country. Say, I've heard your cry. Because under Akufo-Addo, when we had this economic downturn, the whole thing is downsize government, cut down the size of government. The gentleman didn't do it. He was rather appointing people, deputy ministers, he was adding up. Yeah. But doing this, a symbolic gestures, symbolic relevance to the people of this country. This is a president who is ready and willing to listen to the people of this country, your cry and your concerns. And for me, he did that with finesse, with touch. Ghana for appreciated as we speak now. The ministries now your friends say over 30, I downsized it to 23, and the ministers now start now assisting no kind of say
yeah. 56.
Exactly. 4 outstanding. But if you look at how far he has been able to deliver within this 120 days, clearly you could see you don't need a crowd to run an efficient government. You need people who are responsible, people who are whatever it takes. And for me, that is a good way to go so far as the size of government is concerned. And again, oko social contract no ma obetimi abobo some of the things na oka na one thing na AD has to do with economy na ye kan wasem no ya yenim under President Akufo-Addo me catch say we decided to borrow foolishly. We got to a point now there was nothing that we could do to salvage ourselves. To the stand said, now we have to run to IMF. Now you kokwaji loan. You go to our external and internal creditors. Now you making sure say you restructure your debt. So be able to be a survival. President is your bar or best setting up this economic dialogue forum just to engage stakeholders across your fencing or your fencing space. Another day that initiative need discussion of course today you can see say some impact on the economy of this country. And then look at the city today. The city is enjoying some level of stability. You understand? Because for the past bare way, you could see say the dollar rather is depreciating and the city is appreciating. That is a positive sign. And also, Chira say investors' confidence, emu ayedru. God, the air cost say investors are pulling money into this country. God, they knew say there is a new government. Niama basesa kwanya niama faso air corner say the sika ba ya nhwiri sika na nasefo nom. And for me, that is one of the best things I betimi ayetimi sustain this ade we ya. E betimi aboa. And again, nsema na Ghana fo eka na ya manfo adesoa has to do with taxes, COVID-19, you have saying betting tax, yes. And several other taxes. Na abidavo Ghana for ama nema and shada sitana enkoyima Ghana for. The promises were made, say Oba he will do away with these excessive taxes and make sure say Ghana ni ehombatona. Ampara, some of these taxes have been removed, and as we speak, the ordinary and the average Ghanaian will not have to go through the hurdle of paying some of these things. Oh yeah, illegal transactions and then as for those double charging and as for no, and then those things, a year from Ghana ni can breathe. So these are promises you make to the people of this country, and you deliver on the same thing. When it comes to a human and as for look at the platform that has been established so far. I know most of them you can assess their viability now, but the mere fact that they've been implemented, set in motion, we can hope say it will get better. One has to do with this Ajumaura tender was your friend is like or introduce here. You see, I can't say young people everywhere. They are the backbone, the workforce you need in a part of the world. The skills, knowledge, and whatever that it takes to equip them with the requisite skill set. So some of these enterprises are there just to boost young people when it comes to their entrepreneurial skills. Give them the finances and any support to start businesses on their own. Because there is nowhere in the world that any government can employ virtually everybody and give them job. So you need to empower them. Even America, most advanced economies, private sector is more larger than the government sector. You need to empower people, give them that particular way. And for me, that is one thing. And again, with this ICT initiative, you see, the world is pacing. The world is in a competition. Exactly. The world, go into a digital economy and we are seeing how do you as a government reposition your young people into this digital economy? Over the years, we've been lagging. The last time I remember, football has created its own economy. Unfortunately for us, we've not been able to tap into this economy. But the digital economy, is one thing. It doesn't matter where you are. If you go to America now, do you know that most of the mobile telecommunication companies, they outsource their jobs, to some companies outside the US, be India and other countries. And for instance, for a bank, now what making enquiries to know or bank transaction as a former. That particular contract has been outsourced to a foreign company somewhere in India. So the person over picking phone is sitting somewhere on a computer or India. And I wouldn't casa because these people have been able to tap into this digital world now. They're becoming very innovative. So how do we reposition young people? Say by the emerging market, the innovative world of technology now, how do we also take advantage? So if a president is making the commitment to make some of these services available, for me, I think that is a good call because it is not always there be a memo sika kwa say honorable mami way no for how long and I bet my honorable mami sika but nipa no chira how to fish. If you have some of these skills, so I'm calling on young people. So some of these things, whether you believe in it or not, just take advantage. At the end of the day, no, in the future, no, ube who some faso because ajuma bien wa aya papa chen we say obi be tell how to make your own work and now ube timi aya mana ya ajuma. And for me, I think that so far so good. And adeba ko metimi asen aka for me, a lot of people are impressed. Has to do with this medical trust fund.
Ghana medical trust.
Exactly. You see, yeti Chrome has saying some of us on TV, on radio, sorry tia. This initiative I Ntam on my sika Mfankusi Cathedral Mfankutu Amana. I have told you said that enterprise was a senseless enterprise considering where the world is moving to today, because we need to put premium on young people. How do we give them a future? But we sat in this country, my software president Kabum, over $58 million of taxpayers' money. Edikutu Amana, Emana Kwaye Ka Edaho. And another government is in play. The government is not building a cathedral. Rather, he is setting up a medical trust fund. I be providing free medical services for individuals that are more chronic disease. Because some of these things, there is nothing that you can do about it. Say obi our kidney disease, obi or liver, obi or heart problem. These are conditions you live with it forever. Opa mayamfa nkosi Bank of Ghana babi etwesika no obehye no. So it's a government making effort to make sure that some of these avenues are made available. Yet Tikroma Kolebu. Now they were charging people, getting money to go there, problem. But those who are fortunate enough say Yesika, they call Kolebuno, Ubakone say atum, other yes machine say, but near Yesika di Tuamana. Yesika di disabian some who Kroma say, among for a bokrono, people were dying our Kolebu because the renal unit was shut down. NTN Abanya Biaba no say media. I care about the average and the ordinary because people who are going through these conditions, this in your NPP new. There are Ghanaians, especially this era where your friends say Galamsey, I take center stage. You don't even know what now no. Poison or not, whether it is poison or not. So every single person is susceptible to some of these, your friend is saying, diseases and some of these chronic conditions. And the system, they say, some of this initiative has been established so far. Sabaya, I give you comfort to Ghana and he say, so when you say, there is avenue for you. People will be making contributions. These are enterprises, taking care, deeping the welfare of the people, not the other one. A selfish parochial interest, yatamo maisika, and then we invest these monies in senseless enterprises. Nipana or moya sanyamano, aswaya den no Kenyans asembia chena untie. And in the end, ya. So for me, I think people may have their preferences and whatever, but so far there is no sensible person out there. What Mahama has been able to do in the last 120 days. No, because Sebi, your friend saying he's not on the right track. I think where he is right now, he's on right track. And if he's able to continue like this, for me, he's going to leave a legacy that will leave an indelible imprint on the conscience of this country. Because, Makasa being president, very easy to be president. But being president with the responsibility, that is, and he thought that being president was just about one I'm not soldier for do what your president. No, that is not president. President is being president with the responsibility. Looking at the mandate that has been given to you, you work to satisfy those your friend say near man sabaya Ghana ni benya komato ne yem say nearma kosui eboame. For instance, one of the initiatives I person has to do with this cocoa board, your friend say pension scheme for your friend say farmers. I know a man for Modia cocoa. Obi aniti anye 20 years cocoa na wu. Oku can't go run them coffee one city crama unyam. You what I say. But some of these things, Omisa uncle for no one on by a sad government the answer or the policy bet you to sabaya uncle for no home along the line. And if there is a pension scheme that has been introduced, a bit of money to be taken from the farmer, government to add up to it, and we invest this money, sabaya obi a cocoa farmer. Now so also call retirement. Obetimia bank is a retirement package. Sabaya onko come, na teacher ni unkwana benefit. Na mum farmer non so because of the contribution or make to the country, some of these things, be beneficial. So, watch it. I think that we run it through 120-day social contract now, President Mahama and Ghana for sign, on that basis now here. For me, I think that he has really done well. And Ghana need be any whole deal like so to Abama na obey disappointed. But baby a man for a share nimu said near my bet so akwamu moya thing has to do with the fight against corruption. Because that arena for me is the most important thing. Yetana TV so radio so can about issues of corruption for how many years? We are not just speaking to abstract we were speaking to fact individuals we are involved in thievery, corruption, and then as a for them and they all rabbi. So for me, I am calling on the Attorney General. Say on speedy updates. I understand you see the wheels of justice are grinding slowly, but this is politics. You understand? I'm not saying that Obi is not guilty. Guilty. But the government needs to be very frontal. If there is any initiative that President Mahama government has to be very frontal with it has to be issues of corruption. Because we cannot just sit here and we wake up and it's like business as usual. Just look at one person like this gentleman, your friend is saying, Adubuahin. The way this gentleman was able to steal from state coffers. And these people are not even intelligent people. These are weak-minded individuals omunya access to power. Then you ask yourself, how did these people get access to power? Because nipa be nim nyansa or CEO and as a director of a company, Albert bank transfer directly from state account to personal account and be moving money from his personal account to go and buy property. Now more dama clearly choose nipa we nim nyansa. So you ask yourself, how did he get there? Clearly, I chose that family and friends enterprise running no. And one na ye guso and ye running on mine. So time has come for us to say enough of this. Ghana voted massively because of corruption. So we need to make it a priority. The government must do everything to ensure that every single person be ordering in Sabo Mainsi can be no. Ghana will not forget that. And Ghanaians will never forgive the president if he forgo that sacred responsibility. Because Ghana want to know nipa mo for musika. For instance, Sa train where I'm offering a sky train. Yeah. Even the conception of that idea na nkasa kwanyansa bi anim. Na train there na man asase cry or do say na yakofa dem na wiem na we obi onim nyansa. Will you even conceive this idea? Train na nam form no. Asase so dey cry ya constructors are yenwie da. Asase so train cry ye nibi. And home to abobulushidi en cry ma bi. Na train bi a enam ade no so uhu cry obubefu. And na madede dia chire no nya de ketwa na de num ene ya painting na dia si ade so na train no de nam from cry ye nibi na kwabrane o ya professor atena ase akwotena board meeting afa pen ni paper say ye be sky train you be sound say in the school na ye konkra sometimes and you begin to wonder whether we train minds or we just give people papers. Because you cannot come and convince me that memfa pencil paper so and approve $2 million because you have sky train. And I them training the name from no crowd saying. You understand? So some of these things are also we need to punish crime. We need to punish people for them to know say or mine on your easy say there are two key things you should never do: showing weakness and showing mercy. Because the very moment you go by these two key things, you lose your leverage as a country. Obia be take advantage of you and they will do things they are not supposed to do. So for me, the state must rise to the occasion and make sure that we are not witch hunting anybody, but any single person, be an personal decisions, actions, inactions, omissions, anything I go against the rules of engagement, we really need to. And again, state institutions as well. You see, Minister Chief Justice issue near Babaso, Babuache, there one sacred responsibility I go beyond President Mahama is strengthening state institutions because that is the foundations of our democracy. Because you got to a point Ghana for lost trust and confidence in your friend is saying your government. How do you revive that? Because do you know say Abrante yo Burkina Faso or but TV is Ghana for a budget so or a cool leader. Yeah. And you see how young people have become so much fascinated about guy no nema oye. Sa nema na danger is ye dey share box Ghana. I'm telling you, if we do not work to satisfy the aspirations and the welfare of these people, trust me, this democracy, this era will be the last leg of Ghana democracy. And we cannot afford to fail the people of this country. And I'm sure President Mahama Obi are pointing to him. And when you are to be in power, no my culture say, you see, Rollins be dear 21 years and not power now we come to serve. Oba, do your bit. That level of arrogance and then as a form no make sure say the people and your priority work and satisfy near mess away. What time you go and another person will come. That is what politics and power is all about. It is not about you being there. So why you kokoti? No. Power ye the serve nipa. Yemfa metre nipa so. Some mistake na Akufo-Addo ye wan hu ene na wie ye nie because wunya to me now the bobra papa even in your absence people will remember and they will give you that particular way you deserve.
Okay. Meda say yanko yanim ne yanhwa de. Okay, so